For more chat about geek entertainment, answers to your questions, and news from the wider world of Christian geekery, get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services. Hey guys, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Okay, let me react to the Square Enix E3 Season 2021 presentation. They started off with Guardians of the Galaxy. This is coming October 26th. 2021. It's a single-player, story-driven, third-person action-adventure game. They're kind of going for a fresh take, their take on the Guardians of the Galaxy. It actually looks a lot like the designs, the visual designs from the movies, but I think they're saying that so that they can make it clear, as they tried to do with Marvel's Avengers, that, like, hey, don't expect the movies, don't get married to that interpretation of them, because we couldn't afford those actors, and so we're doing our own thing, you know, or whatever their reasons are. But anyway, you play as Star-Lord, so you don't switch between controlling the different characters, which I think I would have liked, but you're playing as Star-Lord, and the rest are AI companions. It is the same lineup as the movies with Groot and Rocket and Gamora and dude, buff wrestler man. I can't remember his name. Anyway, and they are AI controlled, but it does look like you have these hotkey buttons that you can hit on your gamepad to have them do a given member do a special move. And when a certain time has elapsed or certain things have charged up, you can go into some kind of team combo mode that you, I don't know, press L1 and R1 at the same time to activate. So that kind of stuff going on. And when you are doing certain commands, like opening up, it looked like maybe a weapon wheel. There's certain like wheels, command wheels you can open up, and the action goes into a slow motion mode. And I kind of like that. Sometimes as I'm trying to make those decisions of what weapon or ability is appropriate for this situation, I want just a little bit of time to think, but still have an awareness of what's going on in the action around me instead of being taken completely away from the action into a menu. So I like that kind of halfway point. I might be mistaken. I think I saw after a battle an experience meter go up. So it looks like there may be at least some RPG elements, but of course what game doesn't have RPG elements these days? There's also, though, in the RPG vein, relationship management choices. When you are having dialogue scenes and making choices about how you're going to move forward, you can choose to side with one teammate's idea over another. In fact, they show a scenario where you're going to smuggle one of your teammates in a cage and pretend that they're a prisoner to get yourself into this situation and do whatever your mission is. But you can change it from having Rocket in there to having Groot in there. Of course, making one choice over the other is going to maybe have a negative effect on some of your teammates. Now, I don't know what that could lead to. If, for example, like in Dragon Age Origins, it can lead to a team member leaving your team. I highly doubt that, but I would imagine that would have some kind of effect on the game. So I'll be interested to hear more about that. I'm not sure, but there might also have been a target lock system. During some of the gameplay, there would be a reticle that would show up that Peter Quill, Star-Lord, would be firing his gun at. But sometimes in the chaotic action, it seemed to really just stay unnaturally on an enemy, which made me think, I wonder if there's a target lock system here, but I don't know what the heck we're looking at, what they were playing it on, if that was like a PC build or something, so I don't know. They're definitely leaning into the 80s rock thing that was, I think, popularized in the movies, because when you activate one of the team abilities, then I think it's a Joan Jett song from the 80s. Kicks in. So anyway, I don't know that it'll be the game for me. I'm not a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm opening to giving it a try under the right circumstances. Then they had an announcement regarding the first 6 Final Fantasy games. I watched just a little bit of it. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get my boys. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old that are big Final Fantasy fans of those classic early games. So I brought them in. I was like, boys, we should watch this together. This looks like it might be something kind of exciting. And I thought it was going to be a remaster of the whole series. That's what it looked like it was going to be. And it is. They're calling it a pixel remaster of Final Fantasies 1 through 6, coming soon to Steam and mobile, which I was like, "Brr." And it was so short what they showed. They showed a bunch of screens that are kind of like flowing past each other, and you'd have to watch the presentation to know what I'm talking about. But it was all very small screen captures of the various games that were flowing past, and you couldn't get a real good look at them. And so I'm like, man, if this is coming soon, like really coming soon, like say next 6 months, then why is there not something more that you could show us and get a better, closer look at what you guys are doing here? But so I'm very disappointed that they're just coming to Steam and mobile. However, I'm optimistic, or maybe I should say hopeful, that because they are coming to Steam, there is a significant possibility that they will make their way to consoles after that. But I really have no idea. Legend of Mana is coming June 24th, 2021, so very soon here. It's coming to Switch, PlayStation 4, and Steam. I actually have Legend of Mana. I bought the PSP version for my Switch a number of years ago and haven't really been sucked into it like I hoped I would be, so I really doubt I'm going to be picking up Legend of Mana, but that is available. They seem to be kind of trying to revisit the Mana series and get eyes on that again. Then they promoted Marvel Avengers Black Panther War for Wakanda. So this is a free expansion for the existing Marvel Avengers game. It's coming, they slotted it in the summer and beyond category, so I assume sometime this summer is when it's coming. I gotta say, you know, watching the clips that they showed of Marvel's Avengers made me want to not buy the game and give it a try, but go back and revisit some reviews, or maybe watch some updated reviews since they've patched some things, and see if maybe this might be the game for me at some point, maybe on a deep enough discount. I still don't like that, from what I've heard, you have to play as Ms. Marvel for a good chunk of the early parts of the game. I just have no interest in that character. I don't know anything about who she is. But maybe, you know, with all this stuff that I was seeing in this trailer that looked really cool, I was like, well, maybe Ms. Marvel will grow on me, you know, and her dumb stretchy powers, which I really don't. I think stretchy powers are silly. I don't have any power fantasies about having stretchy powers myself. So anyway, but yeah, this had me looking at that game and considering it again, and the possibility that maybe I'll get into it at some point. Then we had Babylon's Fall. I believe this game was mentioned last year at E3. This one's coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 as well as Steam, and it's made by the folks who made Nier Automata, and so it's very action-y type of combat, very flashy action-y combat, and they're going for a unique art style, they said. I'm not sold on the art style, though. It looks like it's a little bit of, I mean, it's full 3D, but the textures look almost like watercolor painted textures, but in the midst of all the chaos and stuff, it almost looked to me like textures that hadn't popped in yet. You know what I mean? Like when they're looking kind of muddy and stuff, and you're waiting for the game to catch up and pop in the nice detailed textures, but they were never popping in this game. So I don't know if it would grow on me or not. I think it would help to see it not streaming on YouTube, but like actually on my PS5, if I can get a demo of it at some point and really see what that art style is going to look like in action. But it's, let's see, 1 to 4 players, co-op. When they were describing the gameplay, one of the developers said, you know, the players are pushing, the heroes are pushing onward toward their never-ending goal. And I'm like, never-ending goal? What does that mean? Is this like procedurally generated? It's just going to last forever? And I think that there is some merit to that suspicion, because it is going to be it's designed as a live service title, and so the good thing is they're going to be making more content to keep you engaged and give you presumably value for your initial purchase. But the bad side is that can kind of sometimes stretch out games, and there can be some game design things that come along with live service titles that, you know, people are not necessarily a fan of. But it's got loot-based progression. It's very much in the traditional hack and slash mold, they say. It was hard to track with some of the details being presented in this because of the spelling and grammar problems in the subtitles for all the, I believe, I want to say Japanese, maybe Chinese, but anyway, they're not speaking English, and so whoever's doing the translation is, man, I wish they would have just had one person. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. It's really made it really hard to follow, and Let's see here. There is a long form interview available for Babylon's Fall that I plan to check out between now and when I do my wrap up for E3 this year. So I definitely want to get more information about it. There were some quotes from a character in the game. By the sound of the performance, maybe a villain, maybe an antagonist of some kind. I'm not sure. But two quotes that indicated that they might be dealing with some spiritual and philosophical issues that I would probably find interesting to at least hear their take on. The first quote is, "We are all prisoners of our subjective reality." We're all prisoners of our subjective reality. That was kind of the menacing tone a little bit that it was in. There's, depending on what they mean by that, I mean, sometimes when people are making these philosophical statements, you want to say, okay, now what do you mean by that, you know? But I mean, if that statement is meant to say that we're all made prisoners by what we take as truth, but that is actually just our perception. You know, if that's what that means, or you could rephrase that even more simply as we're all prisoners of the lies we believe, or the lies we tell ourselves, or the falsehoods that we tell ourselves, or falsehoods that we believe. That there's absolutely truth to that, absolutely truth to that, and we can find both we as Christians and non-Christians can find ourselves lying to ourselves or choosing to believe things that are not true. You know. Let's see here. The second quote was, "Believe only what you see, and you're like to end up seeing only what you believe." And that was, I had to turn that over in my head, and I was like, okay, what exactly do they mean by that? And what I would take that to be saying is, if you only believe in what you can see right in front of you, then you are limiting what you believe. You are buying into a dogma that is going to prevent you from believing what is true. They're believing some things that are true. You're likely to end up seeing only what you already believe, you know, and just ignoring any other truth that is not what you already believe, you know. And that's absolutely true as well. And so I don't know where ultimately the worldview is that the writing is coming from, but these two quotes have me very curious about Babylon's Fall. No release date that I saw for that, but again, I'm going to check out that long-form interview and see if I can get some more information. Then they talks about Life is Strange, the remastered collection coming September 30th, and the new main entry in that series, Life is Strange True Colors, coming September 10th. Neither of those really interest me. But finally, they ended with Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. This is coming in 2022. And I saw this and I was like, they have finally done it. They have finally done it. When I played the original Final Fantasy, I played it because I was terrible at NES games in general. They were all action-y. They required a lot of hand-eye coordination and patience that I just didn't have, and reflexes that I just have never had, and probably even less so today. But I've discovered this genre called role-playing games in the video game sphere, with Dragon Warrior being one of the first, Final Fantasy being one of the first. It was like, oh, these are games that all I have to do is be able to think. And if I can think, but not have to react quickly, then I can enjoy these games. And progressively, over time, the Final Fantasy series has gotten further and further away from giving me the time to think, and has moved more and more, starting with the active time battle system, and then in all kinds of iterations on that, and changes beyond that since then. Now, finally, we have arrived at what looks like a Dark Souls Final Fantasy game. This looks like a third-person action RPG in parenthesis that has a very dark, gloomy look to it. Looks like very deliberate combat. I've just kind of heard that that's what it's made by Team Ninja, which I believe. What else did they make? Did they make the? Did they make another Souls game? That Neo? Did they make Neo? I can't remember. But anyway, they're not known for making RPGs, and at least I don't know a single RPG that Team Ninja has made. Or is it Ninja Theory? I get those two studios mixed up. Neither one of them's known for making RPGs. They're both known for making action-y games, and I believe hard action-y games. And so unusual. It seems like they are. I mean, I've felt for years like Final Fantasy is chasing trends and trends that Western gamers will like, and this just seems like they're continuing to go further and further in that direction. I'm like, you guys just have no interest in the player base that you started with, and I guess I have to be fine with that because the world does not revolve around Peter Franson. Which is great for all of us. But anyway, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC with a PS5 demo coming soon, they said. So I will definitely check that out the moment I find that it is available to confirm my suspicions or just figure out if, by some slim chance, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin could be for me. Bummed that we didn't see any Final Fantasy 16, but maybe those remasters of the first 6 games will kind of fall in line with granting a wish, because I wanted to see something of their old properties remastered and stuff. I guess I should have been more specific in my wish. This is how the genies double cross you, is you not get specific enough in your wishes. But I should have wished coming to the consoles that I own and like to play on instead of Steam and mobile. Anyway, mixed feelings. I just kind of want to know more, and we'll see what the future holds for Square Enix. But those are all the thoughts I have for now. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. The Christian Geek Central podcast is the longest-running podcast for Christian geeks with over 600 weekly episodes and counting, featuring audio versions of much of the same content you'll find here, plus exclusive content including weekly news updates from the creators of Christian comics, novels, and video games, debriefing and commentary about what I've been playing, reading, and watching, and my expanded responses to your comments and questions via YouTube, email, or the Christian Geek Central forums. And now, with timestamps, so you can jump straight to the segments you want to hear most. Get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services, and enjoy one more way you can geek out and seek the truth.